Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to the Chris Salcedo Show here on Newsmax. Election Day is Tuesday. Many states are wrapping up early voting today. So we thought this would be a good time to take stock in where we are in America after 2 years of complete Democrat control. Are you better off today? That's the question we ask in today's preamble. Under Democrats and their totalitarian values, once pro-American institutions have been corrupted, I believe, beyond repair. Patriotic whistleblowers inside the Federal Bureau of Investigation charge that the FBI is rotted at its core, has a systemic culture of unaccountability, and is full of rampant corruption, manipulation, and abuse. If we need proof, FBI is implementing policies against parents who object to GovEd pushing smut onto their kids, saying those parents should be treated like terrorists. The FBI leadership is now a wholly owned subsidiary of the Democrat Party. Republicans should no longer be forced to fund a partisan government agency unless and until that agency is cleaned up. Leaked emails confirm that the U.S. government, through Department of Homeland Security, has used taxpayer dollars to subvert Americans' right of free speech, using big tech as the instrument of their unconstitutional, illegal, and anti-American suppression. No politician I'm aware of has articulated any punishment for such a traitorous action against our people's First Amendment protections. Do you think government agencies adopting the Democrats' fascistic and anti-American principles is an improvement in America? If not, better not vote for a Democrat. Speaking of Democrats, Joe Biden and the socialists in the Democrat Party claim that it is the GOP that is violent. The stats and headlines show that is a blatant lie. A gunshot has been fired into the family home of North Carolina Republican candidate as his young children slept inside. A New Hampshire candidate's supporters suffered multiple attacks from left-wingers, including one who used a car as a deadly weapon. A supporter of Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer is reported to have bitten an attendee at a Tudor-Dixon rally. And a crazed lunatic who echoed Joe Biden's claims against Republicans told a dispatcher he ran over a teen and killed him because he was part of a, quote, Republican extremist group, end quote. And let's not forget the nearly 2 years of violent rampages from the Democrats' BLM and Antifa riots. As stated, Joe Biden and his Democrats have been wandering the country, ignoring Democrat violence and claiming it is the GOP that is violent. And that led to Barack Obama giving a speech, because few Democrats want to be seen with Joe Biden, decrying those who demonize their political opponents. But Obama was falsely attacking the GOP. So I thought I'd point old, often wrong Obama in the right direction. Who is really promoting violence and demonizing their opponents?
This increasing habit of demonizing political opponents creates a dangerous climate. If that's the environment that we create, more people are going to get hurt.
I know where I stand. I will not yield. I will not flinch. I will defend the right to vote, our democracy against all enemies, foreign and, yes, domestic.
If that's the environment that we create, more people are going to get hurt.
The Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans. And that is a threat to this country.
If that's the environment that we create, more people are going to get hurt.
We've got to kill and confront that movement.
I yield the floor, but clearly, this is a literally call to arms in our country.
If that's the environment that we create, more people are going to get hurt.
If you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them.
You're in the arena, you got to be ready to take a punch. You got to be ready to throw a punch.
If that's the environment that we create, more people are going to get hurt.
Nobody comes, I'm going to punch him out. This is my mom. I would pay to see that. I've been waiting for this, for trespassing on the Capitol grounds. I'm going to punch him out, and I'm going to go to jail, and I'm going to be happy.
If that's the environment that we create, more people are going to get hurt.
Now, if you are smart enough to look beyond the Democrats' multiple lies and see the facts that we just showed you, you are likely voting Republican. Many polls show that an overwhelming number of Americans are breaking for the GOP, and because of that, Democrats feel free to bash those Americans.
I read a poll just yesterday that white Republican suburban women are now going to vote Republican.
Why?
It's almost like roaches voting for Raid.
Okay, that's Sunny Hostin, one of the hosts of The View on ABC. And your ears did not deceive you. She just compared white women to roaches because they're not voting the way she wants them to. I wonder if that's the kind of demonization Obama was talking about right there. First, the comment was obviously racist. Secondly, we wanted to know if Sunny Hostin's racist opinion of white women was shared by ABC. So we asked them if they supported her view. We've not heard back, which of course speaks volumes in my mind. And while we're talking about the media, in our final examination of Democrats America, let's turn our attention to taxpayer-funded national public radio. NPR, I should say, decided they would show their support for slaughtering children in the womb by airing an abortion.
Most patients are partially awake during the procedures. They get IV medication for pain and anxiety. The lights are dimmed, there's soothing music. It actually feels a lot like a childbirth. The medical gown, your bare legs in stirrups, and a person next to you saying, "You can do this."
Okay, that's right. Your tax dollars are funding an organization that just compared abortion to childbirth, and they called it news. Next, NPR glorified the abortion as some sort of rite of passage and empowerment for women. Well, unless the child is female, then it's not so empowering.
That's Brandy. She's one of the staffers. Her job is to monitor vital signs, but it is also to hold the patient's hand and talk her through this. Whether it's a birth or an abortion, it is often women guiding other women.
Another comparison of abortion to childbirth. Now, because we deal with fact over narrative on the Chris Salcedo Show, I feel compelled to point out a fact that the so-called journalists at NPR missed. There's a massive and inescapable difference between abortion and childbirth. You see, at the end of a birth, the baby is alive. At the end of an abortion, the child's life is taken. Now, the last part of this report, the actual abortion, folks, I got to be honest, it's tough to hear. I played it on my radio show, and grown men said they couldn't take the depravity of NPR glorifying the slaughter of children in the womb. So I'm not going to play the actual abortion, but I will play for you what was said in the wake of that abortion. As a devout Catholic, I believe this is key to understanding the nature of, what did Joe Biden call us? His enemies. This is key to understanding the nature of the enemies of humanity.
You did it.
Thank you guys so much.
You did. You are welcome.
I hope I didn't do too bad.
You did great. You did great. You did just fine.
You did great, screams the abortionist. What many human beings regard as tragedy, the left wing celebrates. What people of conscience find filthy and grotesque is lauded and celebrated by the inhuman sensibilities of leftists. This is the consequence of electing Democrats. The celebration of slaughtering defenseless, voiceless, and innocent babies. Here's another kick in the groin. You all funded that celebration of abortion at NPR. That's right. And all they had to do was call it news. There's only one party that forces us to fund fake news or wants us to force us to fund the slaughter of children in the womb. They would be called Democrats. So can any sane person say that Americans are better off today than we were 2 years ago? Now, I'm certain corrupt government officials are in love with Democrat rule. I'm sure racist hosts on The View would say America is better off under Democrats. I'm sure left-wing thugs would say America is better under Biden. I'm sure abortionists who celebrate the slaughter of children in the womb, they just love Democrat-ruled America. But it's my sense that the rest of us are tired of left-wing extremism and the corruption, violence, and death that has accompanied it throughout human history. So now, it's up to we the people to vote against it while we still can.